Good evening,
Good
we're Team
evening.
Anela, and this evening we'll be discussing ExxonMobil's operations in Russia. I'm Anela Thomas.
I'm Makita Thompson.
I'm Julian Means.
I'm Clyde Donahoe. I will start the discussion off about the scopes and types of operations inside of Russia. ExxonMobil is one of the largest oil companies here in the United States. I can say in my research and finding information about both ExxonMobil and Russia, it was enlightening to me to find out how much power these oil companies do have here in America and internationally or globally. I would like to talk about the types of operation. Right now, the active exploration and production of upstream and offshore production and crude oil, gas, and production. Marketing in Russia is one of ExxonMobil's top contenders to be to invest in at this point. In other words, there's a lot of oil in Russia, and ExxonMobil says that they can get it in and out and produce what's needed to stimulate Russia's economy. I would like now to talk about downstream and upstream. ExxonMobil has license for downstream and chemical manufacturing and technology, and it supplies the process of efficient value to all customers, and the customer is Russia. The upstream is the strength of our global organization, which allows ExxonMobil to explore and create all type of resources across the globe and concentrate strongly on environmental, using industry-leading technology and capabilities. Next, I would like to speak about the scale/mode of entry. The scale, Exxon has continuously over 20 plus years have the right to develop in the Russian oil deposits. They have also increased the areas of research. The acreages started out at 11 million, and now as of 2014, the acreage is 63.7 million acres that they are exploring and tapping into, looking into producing oil. Okay, one of the drawbacks of such a hard reverse commitment is number one, limited strategy, flexibility, and huge loss if wars occur. At this point, this is exactly what's happening in present day with Russia and ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil has lost millions of dollars daily because of the conflict with the Ukraine, and sanctions have been, United States have put sanctions against Russia for oil drilling, and that is definitely affecting ExxonMobil's income. I would like to talk about now the international trade for foreign direct investment. ExxonMobil is, like I say, one of the main oil companies. It enters foreign markets for the primary reason to increase their profit and sales while protecting their long-term corporate availability. Foreign direct FDI in Russia has reached a record 94 billion in the year of 2013, a leap of 83% from last year. This report come from United Nations. At this point, Russia follows the United States is first, China is second, and Russia is third in the most active country for investors. Okay, fourth, I'd like to speak on the 4 strategic goals for ExxonMobil. Number one, they're a natural resource, always looking for the best location to drill oil. They're market seeking. They seek other countries, and their main perspective now is Russia, and because there is a strong demand for the services and products in that country. Number three is effective seeking. When they look for a location for the scale of economy and low cost factors. Number 4 is in seeking a world-class innovation. And I have some recommendations at the end, but I'm going to turn it over to Julian. He would like to talk to you about some other operations going on in Russia. Excuse me.
Okay, my name is Julian Means, and I will be talking about the sanctions placed on Russia by the U.S. and how they affect the relationship between ExxonMobil and Rosneft. Sanctions began in March 2014 after Russia's annexation of Crimea, a Black Sea in Ukraine. These sanctions prevent American companies from doing business with Russian oil and gas drillers. These sanctions hurt a new $723 million joint venture between Exxon and Rosneft, Russia's largest state-owned oil company. In a 10-K filing with the SEC, ExxonMobil said that it lost a maximum of $1 billion from sanctions. Now, ExxonMobil has made a large investment in Russian oil and gas. They own 30% of the Sakhalin oil fields through a local subsidiary called Exxon Navgas Limited. The other partnerships are oil firms in Japan, India, and Russia's Rosneft, which has a 20% stake. Now, Exxon and Rosneft were to start doing drilling for oil in the Kara Sea, located in the Arctic Circle of the north of, we gotta start over. I'm sorry. Can we start that over?
You could just keep going, I'll cut it out.
All right. Exxon and Rosneft were to start drilling for oil in the Kara Sea, located in the Arctic Circle in northern Russia. While sanctions now stall the business venture between Rex Tillerson, the CEO of Exxon, and Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, it may show not to be such a big issue. Cost to complete the first well is an expected $700 million. Then another several $1 billion to drill more wells and construct the pipeline and processes to get it to the market. It will likely take 5 years before Exxon and Rosneft would have sold enough for that oil to pay back all the development costs. There's no wonder the Kara Sea venture included an exploration period through 2020 and a planning period of 8 years after discovery. As part of the joint venture, Rosneft took sizable equity stakes in a portfolio of Exxon prospects in the U.S. and Canada. So amid a diplomatic deep freeze, Western assets will revert to Exxon, while Russian assets will revert back to Rosneft. While it is an inconvenience for the executives involved in this joint venture to cease sharing trade information and technical knowledge, Exxon shareholders couldn't possibly mind. If Exxon isn't sinking their capital into the Kara Sea, then that's more dollars remaining for dividends and share buybacks. Part of the ExxonMobil and Rosneft joint venture is the plan to develop the Bahino Shallow of Western Siberia. Due to sanctions, Rosneft now face the challenge to develop Bosnar without Western aid. Now, Rosneft's 2-year partnership with Exxon should yield plenty of time for sharing ample materials and knowledge of drilling shale walls. Putin can also find partnership in China, which is not covered by the sanctions. And now I would like to give it to Anela to go on her section.
So, as my colleagues have mentioned, Russia is involved in a joint venture with ExxonMobil, and we discovered 3 advantages of the joint venture. The first one is that there will be an increase in production while there will be a reduction in the cost. So ExxonMobil will be able to produce a lot of oil at a lower cost. The second one is that there will be a shared responsibility, which means if something were to happen, an oil rig blows up or something like that, then the responsibility will be shared by Exxon and Rosneft. No one company would burden the responsibility. Also, the third one is that there will be a balance of power between the firms. So each company or each firm will come together with their ideas and discuss, and then they will go on make decisions from there. Also, doing business in Russia when doing business in Russia, ExxonMobil had to consider the cultural background. Russians, they like you to be on time. So if an American manager were to have a business meeting with a Russian manager, the Russian manager expects the American manager to be on time, whereas the Russian manager can show up at any time and it wouldn't be a big deal. Also, the Russians encourage gift giving. So they encourage their partners to shower them with gifts. It's not viewed as being unethical or bribery, but instead they encourage that sort of thing. And I'd like to pass it on to Makita now.
Hello, once again, my name is Makita Thompson, and in addition to the information that Anila provided, I will attempt to identify the 3 structural pillars of the formal and informal institutions in which can impact doing business as a multinational company in Russia. I will also attempt to explain how these pillars can impact ExxonMobil while operating in Russia. So chapter 2 in our global textbook pretty much helps us understand the importance of knowing the rules of the game while operating internationally. And they do that by introducing the international-based view of international business as an emerging leading perspective in strategic management. Understanding these institutions, otherwise known as rules, can aid a firm in comprehending the conditions within an industry before entering into that foreign market. This is important to know because the success and failure of a firm that operates globally to a large extent depends on the firm's ability to understand and to take advantage of the rules of that host country. An effort to understand the dimensions of these institutions, we have to look at these rules in a institutional framework sort of way. The formal institution there is held by one pillar, which is the regulatory pillar. Pretty much the legal backdrop of the country. It is important for a firm who operates internationally to know the legal structure of the host country that they operate in. These informal institutions are held by 2 pillars, in which are the normative pillar and the cognitive pillar. The normative pillar pretty much refers to the values, beliefs, and actions of the host country, and how they could influence the behaviors of the visiting firms or the main individuals of these firms. Cognitive pillar is more so refers to the values and beliefs that are taken for granted within a company that also guide individual and firm behavior. I'd like to explain why this matters. So this matters because managers, when they are in pursuit of a company, or when they're in pursuit of finding grounds to operate on, institutional constraints play a big part. And while formal and informal institutions combine govern firm behavior, a lot of times informal constraints play a larger role in reducing uncertainty and proving consistency for managers and firms in situations where the laws of those host countries may not be as transparent. So in order for Exxon to continue to operate successfully globally, they have to be aware of these 3 pillars. As far as what they're doing well, ExxonMobil derives significant value from their globally integrated business model, which enables them to maximize the value of their production. This integration results in structural and market advantages that are difficult for competitors to replicate. And I will pass it on to my colleague Clyde, and she will discuss ExxonMobil's leveraging resources and capabilities.
Thank you. Okay, we're getting to the end of our presentation. We are gonna discuss the recommendations for the continuing operation in Russia from Exxon. I have just basically 4 major points. Number 1 is the theory of absolute advantage. Number 2 is strong implication for action. And number 3 is new technology. And number 4, of course, is strong cash flow, which Exxon has total strong cash flow. They are one of the richest oil companies in the United States and globally. And next, she will have some other recommendations on the end, and we'll be closing up our presentation.
Okay, some key points in this outlook would be, first of all, Exxon